Welcome to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Devotions designed to inspire you on your daily walk with God. Here's your host, Ken Gurley.
Well, good morning, everybody. I just jumped right in there. This is a great Monday morning. Sort of I don't know. This is the beginning of the week. Hey, what was that? What was all that? I don't know. This is the beginning of the work week, sure. But this is also the beginning of the week of transitioning to wherever you're going to be for the holidays. Staying at home, that's the best place of all. Staying at home, getting things ready, getting those last minute gifts. Yeah, those gift cards that you can get down at the HEB. Well, that's our grocery store, Randall's, Albertsons, Safeway, wherever you shop, you can get them right there. Anyway, getting those last minute gifts and just having a great time visiting with people you love, and just wish you the best of all holidays this week. We'll be transitioning to where we're going to be for the holidays and away with the immediate family and the grandkids and just letting them see snow, although I'm hearing we may have snow here. Oh, yeah. But anyway, we're going to be here. We're going to be here, Lord willing, Monday through Friday, this week, next week, and I hope you have a chance to be a part of it. Here we are, Monday, December 19th. We welcome you, and this is probably a horrible subject to bring up during the holidays. But we're on 12 Test of Character. Are you overextended? You say, Pastor, that's my middle name, Over-extended. The longer we live, as Solomon said, under the sun, we experience life's continued acceleration. Things just speeding up. Oh, yes, they are. Faster deliveries, faster cars, faster planes. We're in the information age. People demand everything immediate. I need it now. I needed it yesterday. I mean, we've moved from ships and wagons and Pony Express and mail service, telegraph, to overnight delivery, fax, faster and faster ways of communicating. People want more information. Travel. Just across the lake from where I live, there was a painting. I don't know if it's still hanging in the Johnson Space Center. It was there years ago, called In One Man's Lifetime. Showed a man in a horse-pulled wagon winding his way down a country lane. But in the background, there's a Model T, there's Overwright's plane, jet, the shuttle, things accelerating. You know, God's warning to Daniel in the 12th chapter is, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, seal the book, even to the time of the end." And then here's what he said: many are going to run to and fro. You say, Brother Gurley, overextended, that's my middle name. To and fro, those are my nicknames. Yes. And knowledge shall be increased. Again, across the lake from where I live, the Houston spaceport is being built. Space planes, they're saying, being designed. The tower's already out there, getting ready to fly to Beijing in an hour and a half, 2 hours, London in an hour. Yes, we are living in the day of acceleration. Rapidification, one person called it. Everything's getting more and more rapid around us. Now, the carnal Christian's philosophy about the coming of the Lord is best expressed in a bumper sticker that I saw years back. It said, "Jesus is coming soon. Look busy." That's what carnality says. But character says this is the antidote for our present day. This is what was meant when Jesus said, "Watch and pray." Character. I think of the anatomy of a ruined life. He was a prominent businessman, went through a collapse of character, world caved in, had all of the modern virtues, So sacrosanct in the business world, type A personality, energy, forcefulness, vigor, aggressiveness, ambition. But he lacked one important thing, character. And he plummeted downward. Mark Twain said, if I was a heathen, I would rear a statue to energy and fall down and worship it. That is sort of where we're at. Everybody is worshiping energy. This world praises people of action. Listen to the world's vocabulary and you're going to hear attitudes displayed in their words, aggressive, progressive, dynamic, so forth. But children of God, we are to lift up. As Solomon did wisdom of old. We are to elevate character. We use words like faithfulness, steadfastness, morality, discipline, virtue, integrity, character. Call it by whatever name you will, but you will find it is the only antidote for these last days. Here we are. If you're just joining us, we are in 12 days of character. Yes. 100 years ago in the Ladies' Home Journal, 12 essays appeared. I've taken those 12 essays, and they were called the 12 Tests of Character. I've taken those 12 tests, and I'm modernizing them a little bit, language-wise, but generally sticking close to the theme of what was presented. But here are the tests. We've already looked at the first test. Can you keep first things first? Yes, and that should be the first thing. Test number 2, can you mind your own business? Not the affairs of others, but your own business. But today, the third test, are you overextended? Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Facebook, follow. Wherever you're at, identify yourself and come out from where you are. I will say during this transition time, Tessie will be here sometimes. She won't be. I will be seeing you sometimes. Sometimes I won't be able to see you. But what you do means a whole lot more to me than what I do. Encouraging one another, tagging in with one another during this holiday season. It's our way of staying centered in what God's doing right now. Here we go. Are you overextended? The third test of character. A person's life in Scripture is compared to so many things. The flower that fades away, the grass that withers. But I love this metaphor for our life. A tent. Yes, a tabernacle, a tent. It's something portable passing through life. That's the spiritual man. It's a tent. Just passing through. Strangers, pilgrims. God promises to the child of God these 4 things. Oh, there's many things he promises. But I want to emphasize 4. Let me mention 3 right here and toward the close, God willing. If I remember, I will mention the 4th one. First, Isaiah 33:20. He promises you spiritual stability. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Thine eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed, neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken. Wow. Although a tent is fragile, God promises that the cords of your life, depicted behind me in these ropes, God says, a tent may be fragile, but I'm going to keep your ropes. I'm going to give you steadfastness. Here's the second promise. He promised healing. Do you remember Balaam's blessing? How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel, as the valleys are spread forth, as gardens by the river's side, as the trees of the aloes which the Lord hath planted, and as cedar trees beside the waters. Aloes speaks of healing. Cedar speaks of strength, that God's going to promise you. He promises you and me, though we may be flimsy as tents, blown away by winds, He's not only going to give us steadfastness, He's going to give us strength, healing. Yeah. Then here's the third promise. It's found in Isaiah 54. It's fruitfulness, single barren. Thou that this did not bear. That's hard to say. Thou that didst not bear. Break forth into singing and cry aloud. Thou that did not travail with child. For more of the children of the desolate. Yeah. Yes. You're going to break forth on your left hand and on the right. And thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles. God doesn't want us to regress. The Lord wants you to grow. The Lord promises you blessing, not just steadfastness and strength, but fruitfulness. I believe He wants your church to grow. Those of you that work so diligently in a local church, God wants your ministry to grow there. God wants to increase the effectiveness of each of His children. He expects that fruitfulness. He's going to increase your responsibility. He's going to enlarge the place of your tent, stretch forth the curtains of your habitation, but lengthen the cords and strengthen the stakes. In other words, you're seeing a growing tabernacle, a growing degree of fruitfulness, but you got to have long cords and you got to have deep stakes. Yes. With greater stability and influence, there comes an increased responsibility to drive the stakes of our lives deeper. I want you to notice this. Strengthening must accompany extending. Branches demand more branches, longer branches, higher branches demand deeper roots. That as a tree grows above the surface, there's got to be immense growth underneath the surface. Yes, that's the way it has to happen. You've got to have these strong roots. Same thing with the tent. If you're going to pitch a huge and massive tent, you've got to have long cords and you've got to have strong stakes. I read this somewhere and I like this statement. Freedom is never obtained by releasing external restraints, but by substituting them with inward self-control. If they're going to build one of these towering skyscrapers in downtown, it's going to require a deep foundation. The huge excavation that must occur before a building 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 stories can rise into the sky. That the length of my ladder depends upon the depth of my shovel. Yes. The higher my wall, the stronger it must be. You see, the winds of the end time are swirling about us today. Oh, yes, they are. Morning Devotion family, they're everywhere. There is deception. There is a counterfeit gospel. There are counterfeit anointed ones. There are people all around us purporting to have the answers, people that are charlatans. They abound around us. How important to have the right bracing for these turbulent times. Yes. We can't expand without strengthening. You read the horror of building collapse. I remember that condo tower in Florida a couple of years back. It just took our breath away. How can a building like that crash? How can it happen? How can that gigantic aquarium in Berlin just lose all of its structural integrity? I'm no civil engineer. I don't understand all of these things. I work with people. I'm reminded of the story of Sir Francis Bacon. He's an example that the length of his ropes got beyond the strength of his stakes. at years of age. At 15 years of age, he revised the way man looked at nature. Had such insights. Essays are still classic. Made Lord Chancellor of England. His opportunities extended. And with those extended opportunities, the longer ropes should have been tied to stronger stakes, but they weren't. He fell to bribery, corruption. His last 5 years were lived in disgrace. Folks, I want to live the assigned years of my life that I have to live. But I don't want to live so long that I lose what I live for. Does that make sense? I want to finish this thing well. I want to finish it. You may have heard me tell the story of Gordon MacDonald's in Ordering His Private World describes the evolution of a sinkhole that beneath the earth are aquifers and streams of water. But during times of drought, those streams, those caverns of water, they get lower and lower, the water table. And just as water pressure, turgor pressure, I think they call it, holds up the lily, the daisy, so it holds up the earth. But when the water table gets low in those subterranean chambers, then overnight, sinkhole forms. Make sure that your private experience with God is so full and so overflowing that your public appearance always remains the same. In other words, we don't backslide overnight. We don't collapse overnight. We don't commit moral failure overnight. There is a dwindling of the resources within. Oh, praise God. You remember I told you there were 4 promises. God promised steadfastness. God promised strength/healing. God promised fruitfulness. Here's the 4th promise. I remembered. Yes. Is that you should have peace. Isaiah described the spiritual life as a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Dr. Jeffrey Boyd, chair of psychiatry at Waterbury Hospital, Yale Medical School, he said, you're going to find that psychotherapists outnumber churches and synagogues. In the city of Syracuse, New York, there are many more listings for mental health professionals than for churches. Do you know that the real source of peacefulness is living in the presence of the Lord? And the source of peacelessness is not just busyness. It's not being busy. It's being overextended. I read in one day of the life of Christ. There was an all-night prayer meeting, followed by teaching, followed by healing the sick, multiplying the loaves, a storm at sea. You can be tired, but you can be at peace. Overextension comes from not having the proper framework for facing life's daily trials. I've watched people just collapse at the simplest of things. Why? They have no rock that is higher than them. Learn the gospel of the fuel gauge. Peace comes when you know you have a full tank. Have you ever been driving and you know you're low on gas and you're constantly looking at that full fuel gauge? Yes. You're doing that because you know you're running on fumes. But when you have a full tank, you don't even think about the fuel gauge. Yes. Peacelessness results from knowing. You know on the deep inside of you, you don't possess the adequate resource. Find someone that's worried about their business. I'll show you a person that's overextended. When the business is good, he knows the assets are there, the people are there, he knows everything's in place, the supply chain's good. He's much more relaxed about the business. Mm-hmm. But when business is bad, you find out what it's like to live with those long ropes but shallow stakes. and you join company with the tumbleweed family, and that tent can become like a tumbleweed flying across the plains. Peace is the possession of adequate resources. Peace in your daily life is knowing that you have the presence of the Lord on the inside you. You're walking in the will of God. Your steps are ordered. Yes. Peace in the family is consciousness that under all the strains that are going to be inevitably incident to running of a home, that there is an unfailing wealth of love and devotion and fidelity to fall back on. Peace in the soul is a consciousness of knowing that no matter how difficult life may get, we're never alone. We have an unseen friend, and we've got people right here on morning devotion. Yes. Yes. I'm going to give you some optional Christianity. You ready? Here's an option to Christianity. Colossians 3:15. And let the peace of God rule in your heart. You don't have to. Let it. It's optional. It's optional. Are you overextended? We are in the 12th test of character. This is the 3rd test. Are you overextended? What a great day to lengthen some cords, but strengthen the stakes and say, God, I've got to have your presence. I've got to have your promise of stability. I've got to have your promise of strength and healing in my inner man and outer man. God, I've got to have the promise of fruitfulness. And Lord, I need that promise of a deep, settled peace that you're with me. You're with me this week going into the holidays. And I know the Lord's going to be with you. Yes. That's optional. You don't have to let the peace into your heart, but I encourage you to do so. All right, everybody, 3 projects that we are focusing on at the end of the year. New Beginnings, that's an adoption agency. Tupelo, you'll see a link to their site. ROA, Reach Out America, what a great, great work. Love the people involved in that. And Cities Worth Saving. This is an effort. We are ministering to the needs of metro situations, metro pastors, church plants. Love for you to get involved in that. Love for you to just share something with someone and help someone along life's way. We had a great presentation yesterday, some great offering opportunities. This is the season for giving, and it's more blessed. It's more blessed to give than to receive. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Share this with one and all, and go have a wonderful Monday. And if you're traveling this week, traveling mercies. God bless to you.
Thank you for listening to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Join us next time for another inspiring devotion. To support this ministry, please visit firstchurch.com/give.